Well, big up to everyone joining us. I know it is not under the best of terms that we are congregating after a loss like that. It is difficult to get the spirits in the right place, maybe even the words in the right place as well. But we're going to do our best. Um, I say definitely welcome to all the Reds who still, regardless of whether we win or lose, you still join. Big up, Duffy. Never late, never late. Big up. Yeah, definitely had to sleep that one off as well. I went down to my supporter pub. 4:45 in the morning is when the game started for myself, and that means I had to like leave my house at like a little bit after 4 o'clock in the morning just to get down there, just to find a spot. Ends up we have the here in town we have the basketball March Madness going on. So I came to learn that all the streets were blocked off and all the parking was taken, or not. You weren't allowed to park any on any of the streets. So it was not fun at all to see that at all. Um, Absolutely catastrophe from the very very start of this. Kind of felt it in the air, but hey, you got exposed, and hey, it's why we're here to talk about it. Talk about what's right, what's wrong, and what we can do to correct it. So I got myself Lee with me, and I got you in the chat. I'm willing to listen to all of what you have to say. Um, be be advised, trolls, be advised that I will most likely be muting any troll action because I don't want to hear that. I'm trying to get to some serious conversation, not just some blither blather from the Manchester cheaters. So um, I did wake up very early for this. It was not fun. I gave up a Friday night, gave up a Friday evening and an early morning for this. But hey, I'm here with you. I'm here with Lee. Lee, how are you doing today? Despite all things despite.
Yeah, well, you can probably sense the trauma in my voice because that was traumatic. But the way I'm trying to look at it now is that this is pretty much solidified. I'm leaving, I think, and hopefully we'll see the back of him in the summer, like, and then with a new man at the helm, we can hopefully have a decent season next season. What type of decent season that is in terms of what we're in the running for is unknown, but at least we'll be in the running for something, hopefully, because this is broken, can't be fixed now under Arne, innit? And I'm not being mean. I feel for him. Like, I've been saying that for weeks, bloody months all season. I felt for the man because it looked great for him. But football changes very quickly. And, teams have got us worked out. They can smell the weakness and the unease in our team.
It can.
Going in for the kill. And this lesser teams, never mind your Man Cities or your PSGs, the lesser teams, I've smelled the uncertainty, the unease, the weakness in us. And there's been hell to pay, really, hasn't there, this season, results-wise? If we hadn't got them points early in the season, we certainly wouldn't be fifth now.
No, this wasn't a bad day at the office. This was basically the floor. I'm hoping it's the floor for this team. Still has some big games up against PSG, obviously. We have a very important game against Fulham in between that, and then again PSG again. So we have some big games coming up in front of us. But is this where Liverpool actually are now, or is this a failure of management, structure, decision making? That's the question that I have on my mind, at least. Because if you're still waiting for PSG or City to tell you what this team is, I think you're already too late. I really do think you're already too late. Um, I think that's probably why you saw a lack of effort or just the I think the white flag in essence today when after he went down 1-0. Normally there's fight, there's some real passion that still continues to ferment inside the souls of our players, and it seemed like it just didn't today. I'll give you some comments by the players, at least by two of our more prominent players, our captain and maybe even our future captain, who a lot of people want to see as our future captain at least. Um, and that is Dominic Szoboszlai and Virgil van Dijk. Dominic Szoboszlai said this today. He said the fighting spirit wasn't there enough. The mentality wasn't there enough. When you do something and there is no result for it, it makes no sense. We had chances and we missed them. We conceded an easy penalty. We lose 4-0. We cannot concede as much as we concede. Nothing else to say. I was wondering too. I'm going to get to Virgil van Dijk's comments in a second, but I mean, I don't know if you did see the footage of Virgil, or excuse me, of Dominic Szoboszlai at the end of the game. And you know how the even after losses, they always go to appreciate and show their appreciation for the traveling fans, at least the ones that remained, that were still there, because a lot of fans did leave when it was already 2-3 nothing. I think it was when it was 3-0. Fans started to pile out, but what it was that he kind of made gestures of like clapping and then kind of being like doing a shrug and then like telling them to like stand up and make some noise, and um it was very difficult to understand exactly. He didn't comment on it. um Good journalists probably would ask him what he meant by his actions at the end of the game. I don't think that we'll get that question, and we probably won't get that. We probably will. He'll probably avoid an answer. But what is your feelings for it? Did you see it in the chat? If you have an idea
Did see it,
as to what
yeah. Did
it was
see
all
that.
about,
So it was a slightly strange incident, wasn't it, at the end of the game? Because it looked like he was a bit nervous at the end, like clapping, and then one of our players come over and sort of ushered him away, which didn't look right. I mean, our fans were nice and vocal, like at the beginning, like you know, we
Mhm,
outsung them. Lee Wiskid said that earlier, like we outsung them, which we did early on,
mhm.
and because we started okay, like and we're in the game, yeah, our fans were well as, and yeah, there is a train of thought that you should carry on singing to the end, but like after that display and that 4-0. You're
Mhm.
not going to have any, you're not going to hear much singing at the end. Like half of them are gone already, and the ones
Right,
still there, you know what I mean? You ain't going to start singing them.
right. Um, was it? Is it an own goal or something? Or no? Charles scored the goal 2-1. All right, let's not jinx it. Let's not jinx it. I'm just going to allow for that to go on in the background.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it was weird. It was a weird setting. I don't know what was meant by the actions of Dom. I think that sometimes Dom can be very blunt. With his, he can be a different type of blunt, not the way that um, Arnie is, but certainly a Hungarian way, I guess you could say, of being blunt. Um, and It was interesting. Virgil van Dijk had this to say. He said, "We have all the responsibility. We are the ones on the pitch. It's very difficult. I feel bad for the fans. We know how the world works, and we have to stick together, even how difficult it is. It's just a big blow to go out of the FA Cup." I know there's some people that have been uh, criticizing Virgil van Dijk, criticizing his leadership, criticizing his play, criticizing pretty much anything they can factor or feature on. They've been criticizing him, and today was not his brightest and best moment. Let's not get it twisted. It was a very poor challenge that resulted in that first penalty, and it's kind of and it was a penalty. It simply was. It was somewhat of a lazy challenge, and it was a penalty. But what is it that he has to do to gain the respect that people want from his leadership? What else does he have to do? What does he need to do? Is it more yelling at people? Is it is it calling out people? Is it he takes responsibility on himself. He says we have all the responsibility. We are the ones on the pitch. He's obviously taking personal responsibility of his actions and of the team's play. What else does he have to do to be a better captain or a better leader in this case, do you think? You can tell me in the chat too. I'm sure you guys got some some bent up feelings. So let me hear it.
You talk about Virgil as captain or Dom as a potential captain?
Virgil. Talk about Virgil.
Virgil. Everything's.
What is it that he is? How can I put it? What is it that he's missing out on? What is it that? Because I mean, it seems like a lot of cases it's it's always like he's the first to be, I won't say thrown under the bus, but he's certainly one that finds himself um,
Well,
getting a lot of criticism.
yeah,
And
he
he's the
suffers
captain.
from
You
the
know what
same thing Salah does in the high
I
stand.
mean?
But he's captain of a sinking ship this season, isn't he? And he's made some distress calls already, hasn't he, in his post-match interviews where he's saying, look, they're not getting a lot of help here, like, and to a certain extent, it's true in terms of leadership, like, and he could do with others cajoling each other on the pitch and trying to egg each other on to a better performance than the one that we're currently seeing, because he ain't getting much help in that regard, and we've lost a lot. We've lost a lot and are losing a lot of leaders, and he can't do it all by himself. So that's one thing about it. Like, I mean, I just hope that like we can achieve the goals we've got still for this season, but I have grave doubts about that now that we can finish fifth. If we do, it'll be in large part due to Chelsea dropping more points than we thought he was. I'm already expecting them to drop like 6 against the two Manchester clubs in the next two league games, but I don't think that even that'll be enough. I think they'd have to drop more because we're going to struggle to win at Everton. Everton have got the carrot of denying us Champions League football and getting ahead of us in the table. I mean, for Everton, it'd be enough to deny us Champions League football.
That would make their season.
And Man United away is going to be so hard, isn't it? Like, because of the form we're in. It's not a place where you want to go in really, really bad form. And that's what we're in. And then you look at some of the other games. Brentford's no gimme. All right, we're at home this time. But they're on the mooch, like, for... they're only a few points behind us, like Everton, you know what I mean? They're on the mooch, like, for the European place. Fulham... it depends what you get on the day with Fulham. Sometimes they can be very good, and sometimes they can be piss poor. But generally against us in recent seasons, Fulham have played well, home and away, and have turned up. Aside from that, who have we got left? Chelsea at home. Yeah, but we're running out of games here. We're running out of games, aren't we? And I do really. Before the game today, I wasn't as worried about our top 5 place, but after that display, it's really knocked me back. Sort of like I'm sort of half expecting it now for us not to qualify, which is sorry to say and sad to say, like, but it's the truth of how I feel after today's match.
Yeah, agreed. I guess basically what I would start with, because trust me, I have my own little long op-ed style commentary, or or my what is it? This enlightened take at the end of the show for everyone to hear, like, what I really do feel about what's the state of our club and what's going on about the fans and and the coach and everything. But where I will start is this narrative that has somewhat gotten under my skin somewhat all week. And that is the idea that Manchester City and PSG will somehow be the defining games for Arne Slot's future, as if like if he wins these two games or if he wins these games, then he secured his place. And like I've been putting it out there in that perspective, and still, even when I try to say it, it still doesn't come off as being authentic. Um, it's never really made sense because, let's be honest, City is much better than us currently. I would even go as far as PSG. I don't watch much of the French Ligue 1, but PSG is still arguably a better run team than we are currently. Um, so the real breaking point this season isn't City. It isn't PSG. I think for me, at least this season, it was drawing at home to Tottenham, um, losing away to Wolves, um, basically watching the floor. Basically, you know what it's this season has felt like? There's a show. It's funny because it's a game that me and my brother and sister, when we were younger, used to play. But the floor is lava. You ever heard that game? It's kind of funny. I know. I'm making a little reference, but Lee, no, yes, no, you don't ever heard that. It's on Netflix if you ever see it. And the floor is lava is like you have to basically navigate, the confines of the room and not fall into the lava, obviously, or fall into the bad parts of your surroundings. And it seems like the entire floor is lava for us today, and for most of the season. It just feels like the lava is surely getting higher and higher, and we are struggling.
Yeah.
Um, oh, big up, Lady B's in the house. Lady B, big up. Always one of our Red Queens, definitely. Big up, big up. One of the lady of the Reds, big up. Shout out to Lee, Dara, Hylor, Trudon, Edward. Said what's up to Duffy. Obviously, Eric in the house. Big up to you, by the way. Make sure I say hello. And Oliver, and to all those joining us on X or just chilling in the background. Shout out to all of you. It is Dara's birthday, by the way, Lady B. It is his birthday. Um, and the Reds did not provide him a birthday gift, but I guess it was like, do you take this as was this a humiliating loss to you?
Yeah, the way it happens, yeah. How could it be anything other than humiliating? Um, it really was quite traumatic, wasn't it? Watching that, like, because from the moment they scored that penalty, it was done. From that moment on, they started getting on top of us, and it was no surprise really when they scored right on the stroke of half time to take the game away from us for good. I mean, we all knew that the game was gone for good at half time. Then there was no coming back from that. Not in our current form. There was no coming back from 1-0, but 2 was the end of it. And then the second half was just dispiriting. It took a couple of players off, but yeah, it was a nasty one today. But we got used to it a bit this season, and I will still try and strike a positive balance by saying a change of manager could make an awful lot of difference in the intervening months before next season kicks off. So, and we're still Liverpool. We've still got plenty of good players. We just need to find the right man because it's clearly not Arnie with the best will in the world. And we're all happy with what he done for us last season. Number 20, it was a very big one, as big as we get. But like, it's over for him surely by now. I can't see anywhere.
You would say that.
job.
No, not to cut you off. I was just going to say, look, I would agree. I mean, like you would think that that would be the case, but I just saw a tweet. Not it was from yesterday at least, but it was a tweet that said from Fabrizio Romano saying that he asked the question of, "Are you involved in summer planning, in the planning of like the summer planning for this club?" And Arne Slot said definitively, yes. That's weird. That's weird. If you're a coach that's even on the fringe, and I know that like some might push back and say, oh well, it's of course he's going to be involved, or maybe some of his suggestions are being given with a grain of salt. Look, he's answered the question and said yes, and he said, I know what that question is hinting towards, and I am involved fully in our summer plans for Liverpool Football Club.
Great win for Southampton. I have to say, I hope the draw throws up Chelsea and Man City,
Big,
and Southampton can play the winner of Wolves Leeds, so we
big,
could
big,
have
big win.
lots of seeing a unlikely finalist
Huge,
this
huge
season.
win. You're right about that. You're right about that. Obviously, Chelsea got a very, very favorable draw by considering the place that Chelsea is in right now. They're able to sit Enzo, their captain, or one of their captain. He was their captain. I'm not sure. I think James is now their captain, but still a leader in the locker room. Um, they've had Cucurella saying some wild comments on the side about youth and the direction of the club. Obviously, Enzo's been suspended for this game and the next in their pursuit of top five, and yet they got Port Vale and got a 7-0 win today. Um, Southampton prevails over Arsenal 2-1. I'm sure a lot of people out there that are Arsenal fans are probably going to be a little mindful of it. The fact that Manchester City looks so in sync all of a sudden at our expense, and obviously Arsenal couldn't go to Southampton and get a result there. Um, and we still have West Ham versus Leeds set for the to find out who makes it to the semifinals, and it'll be a Chelsea, City, Southampton, and West Ham or Leeds semifinal. I'm kind of rooting for.
Yeah,
I'll root
it's so boring to see City Chelsea in the final this season. I hope to God that they're thrown together in the semi so one of the other clubs can make it.
Mhm.
Um, there you go.
I think it is. I think it's Chelsea versus City is going to be the matchup, and Southampton versus either West Ham or Leeds is going to be the other matchup. I hope that is how it ends up being. I think that's how it is.
Well, it lends that bit of romance that the cup often loses, like in these days, these times, like that little bit of romance of a smaller club doing it. I mean, God knows when Leeds last made an FA Cup final. I can't even remember. West Ham as well. I mean, West Ham ain't been there since we played them out in
Yeah,
2006.
yeah.
Southampton, yeah. I mean, I think they won it in '76. Southampton, before my time, but I do recall Southampton won it around that time.
Let's be honest. It's City's trophy to lose. They're probably the most uh, formidable uh, team left in this competition. but shout out to Lady B rallying the troops. I love it. I love it, Lady B. Thank you very much out there. Definitely proper red always. Uh, we did allow for them to look like Prime City. I will say, it hurt today seeing Pep Linders on the sideline celebrating like it's his birthday. It hurt to see Cherky, um, you know, on the sidelines trying to put Ekati doing a shirt exchange in the middle at halftime or something, or in the middle of the game, not at halftime, but in the middle of the game, uh, you know, trying to put his shirt on the sideline. Uh, it hurts. If you were to look at these stats, you would think that this game was a lot more balanced than it actually was. um, and the stats do actively lie to you today. I will say that. Normally, you know how big of a stats fan I am, but
Mhm.
if you look at the stats, 11 shots to 11 shots, big chances, 4-2 City. Open play, XG, which is important because, like, when you look at XG, the numbers are going to be heightened because there was 2 penalties, one for each of the clubs here. So open play means like the actual XG during regular play, and it was 1.88 to 0.59. But if you watched the game, you knew exactly what it felt like. It felt like City were basically toying with Liverpool,
They
absolutely
were
toying.
in the second half, which was disappointing to see because he picked that midfield knowing that they'd be able to dominate us, and dominate us they did once they were in the lead. We sat off them a bit, like, and let them play, like, and you can't do that with a team like City. Rodri and Bernardo Silva was just too good on the ball, like, and we weren't. It was a bit of a mismatch in some ways, like, wasn't it? We did look good today, like, by every conceivable metric. There's nothing really to hang on to from today. As a plus, unless you hang on to the fact that we didn't seem to pick up another injury.
No, and I get Lady B saying she doesn't think Akatika got the meaning of it, or he definitely wouldn't have done it. I understand what you're saying. I just think that, like, this isn't his first rodeo. This isn't an exhibition game. Okay, this is a quarterfinal. All right. This isn't some friendly where the other side of the dugout um, is friends and family. It's more of they are during that 90 minutes your sworn enemy in my eyes, at least, or my perspective. And if you wanted to switch shirts or change shirts, cool. You're gonna be you got to stay on unless you're going into the locker room right now. You're going to be on the sidelines. You're going to be on you're going to be there until the end of the final whistle. Do that stuff at the end of the game. Do it maybe even in the do it maybe even in the
International
tunnel.
duty.
Yeah, international duty, stuff like
You
that.
know
Like,
what I mean? Because they both play for France, so do it there, bro.
yeah, yeah. That's why it was kind of
Yeah,
weird.
off for a minute, like after there's a kerfuffle over them doing it, that they are international teammates, and maybe it isn't as big a no-no in France, in the French leagues, to do that during the game that you're getting battered in, but it is a
No,
no-no.
I would. You know what? I would have said, you know what? There's not many times you hear me critique Virgil van Dijk's leadership, but I would have, if I was the captain, I would have gone over to Ekatike and said, "Put your shirt back on. Put your shirt back on. You want to give us your kit off? Let's worry about winning this game first."
Yeah. 3-0 up, no problem. Give him your shorts as well if you want.
Yeah,
If you're
you
2-0
know,
down, you
yeah,
2-0
you
down
want
on the way. You know what I
to
mean?
give out autographs now or something, dude? Like, no, get on. You just been subbed out. Get on the bench. Stay there. Hang out. That's that.
That's it, man. Bless
That
up
was a dumb,
Helio.
dumb, dumb moment. And like that's something that you've got to recognize as being as a morale killer. I mean, like it doesn't seem like you're locked into the game. You're more about like the pageantry of it all, like that. Or something. I don't know. It is what it is.
I want to say
Um,
a quick hi to Helio, Lewis, Kid Eric,
yeah, I do
Gara,
remember that. I do remember that. That was
Lady
stupid.
B.
I remember when he got the when he had a yellow card, he took his shirt off and got a red card as a result. I mean, that was a dumb.
Look,
It's
bro,
like
for me, the
sometimes.
The red flag is him changing his hairstyle color every other day.
Oh, stop!
Nah,
Next,
bro. I'm like, keep it
you're gonna
natural.
keep it like
Win
that.
us a
Come on,
trophy, then you can do it. Until then, fucking keep your same hairstyle and
there
color.
you go.
What
There
your
you go.
mum and dad gave you. Simple as.
He's gonna get it. You're not careful, Eke. You go. You're not careful, Ekatike. He's gonna be getting on you about your cleat color or something like that too pretty
I
soon.
need to be the manager, bro. I would cut all this nonsense out. I'll be like, so what's like, get yourself a
There you
rucksack
go.
and shut the fuck up.
Yeah, there you go. You had pink Crocs. There you go. Lee Wiz Kid got your back on that one. Oh
Oh,
man.
bless up red armchair, man.
Well, once upon a time,
Shout
when
out
you
to
haircut was like for the season, the players have a haircut one season, different one the next, but now it's every other week. But to be honest, that isn't that big a deal. It's a facet of the modern game that we can all laugh at, and because he's far from the only one doing it. Like Sabo's got a new harness every fart's end, and he as well. But yeah, it's
That only looks good, bro, when you're winning. You understand my point? When you're winning, you can do what the fuck you want. You can come in flip flops on the pitch. No one cares.
Yeah.
You
There
know?
you go.
As soon as you
Yeah,
start
there you go.
losing, they're gonna point the finger at anything. And for me, it's the mentality of a squad and a squad player. You gotta keep the standards high and the discipline high as well. Then you don't get results like today. Results like
well, I
today
used
is lack of
to.
discipline, you know?
They used to enjoy a good handlebar moustache on the players before my time, but you know, when you see them pictures from the 30s and they've got handlebar moustaches and that, it's a bad one, isn't it? Like, you do not see them anymore, like, the well out of date, them, aren't they? But the
I'll,
old
t-
players used to love them.
I'll tell you something, Lee. Again, shout out to Crown Public House. This isn't look. I don't get anything special out of doing this, but I do. But my supporter pub is special to me. So shout out to the Reds that showed up at again 4:45. They were actually there before I was there. So you know, 4:45. Um, there's about 20 of us in a bar that we can't even drink alcohol until 6 o'clock in the morning. So you're forced to drink waters, Red Bulls, coffee, and at least they give us a proper English breakfast if we want it. Um, was it I forget all the different little things you guys got on your plates, but it was very interesting. There was a lad there. He's actually from England. I don't believe he's a Scouser though, but he is from England. He was at the bar, and there was a comment from our side of the Pond's announcers, and he said Arne Slot should be happy with the majority of the first of what they've seen majority of the first half, and and like and what it is that like I have been I have been it was an interesting comment because the announcer said this. He said we should be happy with what we saw for the first half, and what he said back was funny. He said basically like, is he watching the same game we are? Like, we're down 2-0 going into that into halftime. You know, like uh what oh my gosh. Like I said, SBO, we said trolls are not on this segment. We're not trying to deal with trolls today. You know, your club banned us from winning an FA Cup, win a cup. Absolutely. Maybe the
Fair
Premier
play.
League will ban. Maybe the Premier League will ban you from the Premier League.
Look,
You
now
know, I hope they ban you from the Championship as well. How about that?
but I want them now. I want his team to catch my Arsenal up in the Premier League title race. Look, Arsenal just lost
Absolutely,
to Zara now, bro.
absolutely, absolutely.
Woo!
Yep,
So at least the
yep.
day finished off all right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Come on,
I
2
hope that your
games,
team has gotten some form and can catch Arsenal. How about that? Because
simple.
your
How
team
about that?
is a bunch
Uh-huh.
of cheaters, and we don't care about whether you win or not because it's already got the asterisk next to it as we speak. So with that said, and I know that was a little bit cheeky, um, I was just bringing up the fact that he said that, and why I was bringing up him saying that was because he was talking about the first 30 minutes of play, and people were saying Liverpool played well for the first 30 minutes. And I'm like, is it just me, or are football matches not 90 minutes long? You know what I mean? Like, why are we praising this team for 30 minutes of half decent play?
Mm.
The reality of it was that it was
Mm.
0-0. XG was basically even. Shots were even. Possession in dangerous areas was even. There was no dominance. We were just playing. We were just playing like decent
No,
football. Wasn't anything
I
like
think,
something spectacular.
yeah, but I reckon, bro, when you look at that game as a whole, what happened was Arne Slot picked the team that was good enough to win that game at the start of the first half. We looked like the better team. Okay.
Mhm.
The only problem was, as we've seen constantly this season, is as soon as we let a goal in, there's no fight back. There's no Steven Gerrard Istanbul fever in the side. There's none of
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
So,
No, there
and that
wasn't.
was the problem today. We were the better team, bro. For me, Ekatike and Salah should have both scored goals before they got their first one. Simple as.
Wow.
We made the
Okay.
better chances. I reckon we played pretty well. Look, Arne Slot did his job. I
Okay.
think the players let me down today. Not the Arne Slot did what he had to do. He got us on the front foot in that first half, first 20 minutes or so. So it was all going smooth. They collapsed. The players did. As soon as that first goal went in from the penalty, was it? Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
They collapsed, bro. That's got
yeah.
nothing to do
Lady,
with Arne Slot, bro. That's the
It's
players for me.
it's
Lady
true. It was
B.
true from that point on where we were looking okay. I remember Rodri
Mhm.
getting booked for grabbing hold of Ekatike, who had done a lovely move on him and was nipping off towards goal before Rodri grabbed him. But it was nothing like that after they scored, wasn't it? Like, there was no City players grabbing onto our shirts, holding us back.
No, I get
We
that.
held
I get that.
ourselves back, didn't we?
Lady B has joined us, and it is always a
Hi,
pleasure and
Bernard.
a privilege
I
to
mean,
have Lady B join us. How are you, Lady B?
Well, same as you, 12. In shock.
No, I know.
Just a bit in
Well,
shock.
I'm in shock of what JK just said, but I mean, like, what other than that, tell me about the shock that you're in.
Well, do you know what? It's the first time in years that I haven't been able to watch a Liverpool game. And I'd gone to see family today, and I got my timing wrong, so I was late, sort of getting back for the game. So I had to I missed the first half. I turned it on as it was to listen to the local radio station, Radio Merseyside, and just heard 4-0 and nearly fell through my car
Mhm.
seat, my chair, and I thought, and then they said, they're going to have to do this, they're going to have to do that. And I just thought, we're not coming back. What are we going to do? Get 5 or 6 in the second half when we've been
Yeah.
beaten 4-0,
Mhm.
And so I just knew it was over then. So in a way, no one likes to see fans leaving the game, but
Well,
I just thought, I knew it was over then at half time. So, I can imagine them having to go through that.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
can't believe what happened there today with the fans leaving. Never seen it in my whole life, ever, 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 as a Liverpool fan. What
No,
I've
I
seen today,
haven't.
I've never
I,
seen
In
it
one
ever.
sense, you can't believe it, but after watching that slop, it's no wonder, is it? I only wish, Bernie, my dear, that I had a family engagement that had taken me away from this horrible game today. Like, your family engagement done you a favour there. I bet
Yeah,
you
they
wish
did.
you seen
They did.
4.
yeah, but you know what, Lee? I went to see my nephew, and he's only 5 months old, and he had
Oh, that's cool.
a little Liverpool kit on, today. And anyway, it's my great nephew. My nephew was taking him and his wife. They were going to the pub, which is very good of the wife because she's an Evertonian, and she's got
Okay.
a season ticket for Everton. But
Oh.
she realizes he's going to be a red. So she's just given into it, you know. And as I leave, I mean, my niece, we've both been up to see them for Easter. As we're leaving, they're walking. My nephew and his wife are walking the baby to the pub to watch the second half of the game. And my nephew sent me a picture of the baby, and with his little Liverpool outfit on and his bib, and you want to see the face on him. And I said, he must have realised we were losing, you know. Even he's disgusted, you know. But I've never heard so many people today that I've heard said they missed the game, or they went out to make tea, or they went and made their meal. Yeah, it's just unbelievable how...
I washed up today.
That's what I mean.
I've never done it my whole life. I never washed up in a Liverpool match. Never. And I washed up today. Can't believe it.
Yeah, it's like not that we've disengaged, but it's not as, you know, like you wouldn't miss a second, would you? Well, you know, you just wouldn't normally miss a second. And now I was upset I'd missed it, but as soon as I heard it was 4-0, I was glad.
Yeah. It's one of those cases where I think a lot of the will and the fight of the team is synonymous with the actual belief and in that our team is going to do just that, fight, you know, really stand up for us. As I mean, I've heard some people, you know, question, you know, the actions of Dom, like I spoke earlier, and you know, I'm sitting there going like, look, these guys are paid hundreds of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of pounds, excuse me, to play a game that most of us would play for free practically. And I think sometimes the disconnect is the fact that there are those that pay substantial portions of their salaries or pay, you know, travel from far and wide to see the team play. And some of us, like I myself, wake up at early crack of dawn. I mean, I had to watch the sunrise basically during watching this game in the background actually. And here we are with the, you know, players handing over the kits at halftime and, you know, and giving warm hugs to the city, and as if it's like nothing. It's just like, where's that fight? Where's that, like, I don't know, the anger that a lot of us have towards this, towards a side that has never shown us any has basically done the exact opposite to us, basically, when it comes to the pleasantries. Like, I saw Mohamed Salah, for instance, helping up Silva, and I'm just like, what are you doing?
Oh, not him of all people. Not him of all.
Yeah, I'm like, of all people to help out, what are you doing?
Truly loses cool was with that little shit in Anfield, mate.
I'm like, you know how many times Bernardo Silva has like purposely fouled you, at sometimes looking like he was trying to injure you, and yet you're over there trying to, like, I guess, quote unquote, turn the other cheek by like helping that guy up. No,
man.
Like, no one tells I know that might be petty, but that's just something.
Yeah, but 12, you know what it is? When you are a footballer like Arne Slot was, and then become a manager, you know part and parcel of the game. He hasn't done his homework on how to be a Liverpool manager, what it takes to be a Liverpool manager, and he didn't do the homework on this game today in that way. Like, say, Bernardo Silva is a real horrible player. He hates us. Like, you could just see it in his energy every time he plays. He hates us, bro. Why? Because we were the most team that could actually beat them in them days. So he was the best player on the pitch today, bro.
This is it.
He took all our midfield out.
What you said before, Jay, about the players not helping Slot, that we were making out okay until they scored. Yeah, and some of it does come down on them to allow them to score again before half time and kill the game off, right? And there doesn't seem to be that ability within the team now for them to cajole each other when things are going wrong and shake each other up. It just doesn't seem to be there, and they look resigned to their fate more often than not. Like when things are going badly, instead of having a go at each other and saying, "Come on, this, put a foot in, or don't be losing your man that easily next time." It's like they're almost accepting what's happening to us. Like when things go badly wrong.
Do you know what?
Go ahead, Carlin.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, it's like we've got a team of gentlemen gyms with white gloves on,
Exactly. Yeah.
But also, my mum always used to have a saying, keep your powder dry, and use it when you have to. I listened to Slot. I don't know if it was this morning or yesterday. I can't remember when I heard it, but I heard him being interviewed, and he said, Doku, he said, we got caught out last time. We're not going to get caught out again. We realise that, we can't just put one defender on him. We'll need more.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, why don't you just tell them our tactics? Because now Pep's going to think, there's two defenders going to Doku, so we'll go somewhere else. Yep. And I just thought, how stupid would anybody be, to I couldn't believe it, honestly. I thought
he likes his little comments that sort of shows the world he can see the problems, because when you can pinpoint problems, you're viewed as a smart guy. You know what I mean? We all do it on football shows. You know what I'm saying? All pointing out fingers at this, that, and oh fucking hell, he knows what he's talking about. And Arne Slot does the same as a football manager, and that for me is a no-go. He shows too much respect for the opposition, bro.
Yeah, he does.
PSG, come on. For me, revenge. You remember these guys? They beat us last season, so we couldn't do the double. Let's show these guys how to do it this season. Simple.
Do you think he just looks at football as a tactics game?
Yeah.
But he hasn't really got a fire and a passion in his belly to get out and fight them, gloves off, and just get stuck in.
But the thing is, Bernadette, he's played the game for years. It ain't like he's a guy who studied football like one of them data guys and came into the game like an Edwards or whatever. This guy's played ball. He's put his shorts on, went training in the morning, so he knows the game. He knows the score. And if he can't realise the energy in the players isn't right, he needs to do something different. His management skills aren't great. And because of that, that's why the energy in the squad's not right.
No.
Simple things like that.
It's reprehensible, the fact that, it'd be a different story if this game was a game that was just 3 days ago, or coming off of a game 3 days ago or something along those lines. This game is a game that he's had 2 weeks to game plan for. And that's what the game plan, if 2 weeks created 30 minutes of okay football, there's got to be an issue with that. I mean, we've given him credit and plaudits of having the master plan when he went to the Etihad and beat them with the 2-10 system that he used with Dom and Curtis up front at one time. Well, where was that ingenuity in this one? It just wasn't there. It absolutely wasn't there.
Curtis was
I'm asking you. Yeah. We're gonna get into to player ratings in one more after this next segment, but I'm gonna ask you a difficult question, because I'll tell you this much. Pep did answer the question. He answered the question on this. I'm paraphrasing, but he did answer a question that was posed by a journalist asking if Mohamed Salah is in the decline of his career. This is like basically, Salah. What was your thoughts on Salah? And Pep actually gave a very, favorable, magnanimous comment back, saying Mohamed Salah is the greatest Premier League right wing of all time. Giving him plaudits, and he respects and appreciates it, which he should, and which we all should. But it is a conversation. Mohamed Salah stepped up. He had at least, just as you pointed out earlier, he had at least 2, 3, maybe even 3 opportunities to score. Okay, one-on-one with the goalie twice at least, and then having that penalty. having the penalty, and you could almost like sense. I don't know if I'm alone on this. This is how our season has gone. I had a feeling he was going to miss it. I'm not saying that hindsight. I am saying that I had a feeling with the way that the game was evolving for him. I had a feeling he was going to miss that shot.
I think we all did. Sorry to jump in.
Yeah.
We did. I think we all did, didn't we? The way the day was going, that was going to be a miss. And we were saying earlier, I was saying on Brian's show, like, it's sad for the guy, like, that his last season is this, but, you know, he's not the only one suffering. Like, it's sad that he's got to go out this way, but go out this way he is, you know, especially with a whimper at his last game against City, to go out with such a whimper. Not him, I was just meaning the team, his last performance against City, who've been a favoured opponent for him. There was nothing there, was there, today for us? Like, there was no ray of sunshine today, apart from not getting another injury, unless we get up tomorrow and we find out one of them is injured.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that this is... Oh, go ahead, Bernie.
Sorry, Charles. No, I was just going to say, you know, nothing against Arne Slot at all. You know, he's just a man doing a job, and he's doing a job that he's not good enough to do. You know, he's not big enough for our club, and for me. And you know, he is going to have to go. You know, and unfortunately for him, except that he's still going to go with millions when he goes, and that's up to him. It's like, you know, it's like a lot of football managers, but I just think the job is just too big for him. The club's too big for him. And I actually think he's like a swan treading water at the moment. You know, he's doing his best to appear calm on the top. But imagine the pressure that guy must be under. You know, it must be. I mean, that's not what a lot of fans want to hear, because they just want black and white, you know, win or go home, you know. But you still have to have some compassion somewhere in you, you know. I just think he's come in, he was flattered, you know, into being offered the job. He's backed himself. He thought he could do it, and unfortunately, this isn't the club for him. And for us, it's painful watching it. You know, the sooner for him and for us he goes, I think the better.
You know what, Bernie, to go a little bit to add to your comment, which I completely agree with. I would go as far as to say that maybe tactically he's an astute character. He's obviously done well last season with you know, figuring out different tactics or figuring out different plans of attack for our club to get us over the line. But for the level that our club is at, it takes more than just being a decent coach. You have to make connections with the fans. You have to be able to, you know, obviously command authority in the locker room. You have to be able to develop players. You have to be able to do so many different things than just working about the X's and O's. And I unfortunately don't think that Arne has really taken that into his own hands to say, like, because he often doesn't accept accountability when approached. He often has some excuse rather than just say the buck stops here.
Yeah, you'd have more respect for him, wouldn't you? And you'd work with him if he said that, I think.
Yeah, I would. I absolutely would.
Do you know though, like, you know, at first, like, there was some of our fans were saying last season, you know, he's he inherited Klopp's team, so, you know, he didn't win the league, you know, fairly and squarely sort of thing. And I went against that. I thought, well, he started to manage those players and he got a league. But, you know, now, the benefit of hindsight, you know, you look back, and I think, because he did say at the time he wasn't really going to change what Klopp had done. He stuck with the players. He stuck with the format. The only thing he did say, I remember that he was going to change, was the rotation. He didn't like the injuries, and he wanted to reduce the injuries. But now when you look at it back, I think he got an overflow of the way they've been playing under Klopp. They were drilled to play that way under Klopp. Arnie's come in and just thought, he'd feel his feet. This is just my supposition and nothing else. But I think he's thought he would, he'd feel his feet, he'd let them run, he'd be planning on what he was going to do with them. He was going to buy in with Hughes, for the coming season for next year. And the momentum took us through to win that league early. But then when Arnie started bringing in his own sort of tactics, we stopped winning. It was the horrendous end to the season after winning the thing early, and we've never recovered from that. We had 5 games that we won at the beginning of the season, but I think that was like, players coming back thinking, oh, we've got Isak, we've got Vert, look at the size of our club. Look how much we've spent. We're going to be the Galacticos. Everybody was talking about us. The league's over. Look who Liverpool have bought. So I think we come in on the crest of that and won some games. And then I think Arnie slowed the game down to a walking pace. It hasn't suited our players. Nothing suited them. The midfield haven't turned up. The whole team seems to have lost like that passion that they had before. And now, to me, it's like a team of models who spend more time on the catwalk than out on the pitch fighting for the club, And we were saying earlier, they don't even go and it's so disappointing because they don't even go and celebrate with the fans anymore. The disconnect between the fans and the players is huge. Isn't it?
Widening by the week at the moment, isn't it? Like that thing with Sobbo. I hope that was like that we've read too much into that and it wasn't what we thought it was at the end. Because even coming from him, who's had he's been our best player this season, which ain't been ours. That's too much, to be giving the fans any type of jip for their support after the way we started the game. And fine, boys, considering we pretty much knew we were hiding to nothing. Even our travelling fans probably knew we were going there to lose. But he turned up in good voice. So I hope that was we're just reading too much into that and we slightly got it wrong. Because I won't like that if that's what he was up to. Sort of clapping in mock sarcasm at the lack of noise at the end. Because, who was going to be singing at the end after that? Nobody, mate. Nobody.
But Lee, when was the last time? I'm just, so I'm not saying that, so I'm just asking in general. When was the last time that we were treated to one of our players celebrating, running into the cop and sliding across the pitch and doing a dance, the way they used to do, to the fans first, which is what it's always been at Liverpool, and then to the players. No, they don't even, half of them don't even go to the fans now. They just turn to each other. And it used to be they jumped all over each other, have them on the floor. Now it's a bit of a fist pump or, pat on the back as they all trudge back down the pitch. No one's running with the ball to get back to the halfway line, to restart the game. The passion has just gone to, I think, and I do blame Arne Slot for that because he wanted to walk and pace football, slow it down, and he slowed it down. He's killed it for us, I think.
Yeah, he slowed it down too much, hasn't he?
That's what he's done. And whenever you slow a game of football down, what happens? The opponents think now's the time to take over them. And that's why with Jurgen, it was very hard to control a game against the Jurgen Klopp side. Why? You didn't have time to breathe. It was so fast by us that the opposition were bamboozled within the first half an hour of a game. This manager makes the opposition bring their knitting with them, a cup of tea, a book, and they're chilling. But they're scoring 3 goals against us. Why? Because we're playing first gear, second gear football. You only play that type of football when you're winning 3-4-0. Drop it to second gear. Yeah, do it, no problem. Pass it backwards, side to side, no problem when you're winning 3-4-0. But not the first half and you're losing 1-0, Come on, man. Very bad.
The only hope I have for the Paris game, in as far as that we won't get laughed out of town so loud that we'll never dare play there again, is that we play really defensively. And I mean really defensively. But, you know, a team like PSG, you've got to carry a little bit of threat. Like, you can't just let them be all over you for the whole game because you won't survive. So it's trying to strike a balance here between not being utterly embarrassed and having something to play for in the second leg and carrying a threat at the same time. Because for the life of me, I can't see how we go there and get the right results, which would be, which would be like a narrow loss for me. That would be a good result, a narrow loss, so we've still got something to play for. But we're going to have to come up with some sort of idea to stop them. I just don't know what that is. And I don't think Arnie does, to be honest. Like.
Look at like Peter's. Oh, go on about that.
Oh, only quick, Jake. I was going to say I'd love to be a fly on the wall in our dressing rooms after these losses, because are they apathetic or are they really having a go at each other? You know, and saying this is ridiculous. Look at us last year, we're champions. What are we doing? There's so much. I've never, you know, like, you know, everybody's had a job, or you know, sales and covers a lot of things, but. You know, and even winning is like sales in a way. You know, you winning something, but I've never ever, you know, known a team of anybody who could be so dispirited and then go out and not be disgusted with themselves and think, you know, we've got to sort something out here. We've got to do something. Who's giving the motivational speech? Are they motivating each other? No.
You should have brought Klopp back in that. You should have told Klopp.
Henderson and Klopp. You need them two guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, you could have used that.
Yeah.
Well, I'll ask you this: Do you think it's too late to make a managerial change right now?
Should have been done last week or 2 weeks ago. As soon as that Brighton game finished, 1 point from 9 in the Premier League after that Brighton game. So that was for me enough. You're getting 1 point from 9 against Wolves and Tottenham. Come on, man.
No, some of us would have sacked them after the Manchester United loss, to tell you the truth. But I mean, like, then that's a different
PSV
story.
at home, bro. 4-1, was it?
Yeah.
We've never lost this many games in a long time. It's like we don't lose. It's not like the Liverpool feeling
think
of
Brendan
hard to
Rodgers
lose.
is the last time we've lost this many games. I think, or something.
Do you know, you could say, what's the point now? You may as well leave it till the summer and let somebody come in, you know.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, what good is it doing all of our players? Because their mentality is going to be rock bottom, and we've got to get them ready for next season. You know, so
they got a World Cup as well. You know what I mean?
You almost need to let him go, even if we only have an interim in. You know, I think just to get something different in the mindset of the players, because otherwise and look at Isak coming back to what? You know, Leone coming back to what? You know, it's hard, isn't it? Because you think there's not a lot to be gained by letting him go now, but there's nothing to win either.
Well, let's do the fun part of it. Let's do some ratings for these players for this game. And I'll start with the goalkeeper, Marmardashvili. I don't think he wasn't the problem today, despite 4-0. I know that sounds weird, but I don't think he was the problem. You know, obviously, the goals that were scored were pretty good goals, to tell you the truth. Maybe he can done more of the Semenyo goal, but still, pretty good defense for him, by the way. He wasn't the solution, unfortunately, and handled what he could. Never created a moment, like, you know, and then he wasn't the problem or wasn't something like his mistake or something. But in games like this, you know, obviously you need command. You need that. I don't want to put too much pressure on him or too much blame on him to say he's not Ali. We all understand that. But I gave Marmardashvili a 5 out of 10 today. What would you have rated him today? We can go.
Well, couldn't do
across the line.
anything. Couldn't do anything about the goals, really, because he's one of the only players who comes out of it with a modicum of credit because he was powerless, really, to prevent the goals. Yeah. He did okay, basically, like, you know what I mean? It sounds bizarre when you lose 4-0. But like I said, there's nothing he could have done about the goals, really, was there?
Nope. Jake, Joe, what was your rating?
Yeah.
Out of 10.
Lee?
Oh, Lee.
I give him a 6.
Okay. JK?
Mhm. I'll just quickly say that Peter Cropton in the chat. Look at Southampton for passion. Simple as.
Yeah.
Simple as. I watched
Yeah.
that game a bit at the end. I was thinking, wow, look at the energy from that team. And Southampton beat Coventry a while back, first defeat in ages for Coventry. And I was like, you know what? The Southampton outfit, they got the energy. The manager's sound, and they did a job on Arsenal. So it's all about the manager bringing out the energy of the players. And I'll give Mohamed really 1 for turning up.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. You
Stop
already
being
know
so
this is leading.
generous.
I know.
-1. Actually, I'll give -4 for the goals. Look, bro, I've never said this guy's a bad goalkeeper, but you don't give me no confidence. He's had big games now. He conceded 6 goals against Turkey for his country. He let in 4 today. Top goalkeepers don't let in that many goals in a game. Sorry.
I don't know why we let Kelleher go, to be fair. And look at the money we let him go for as well. You'd rather have kept that. And, you know,
yeah, but I think his agent was sort of wanted him to be number 1 or whatever. He wanted to be number 1 himself, you know what I mean? And what it is, Alisson is number 1. No one knows what Alisson's fitness is going to be like. Hence why Kelleher got a lot of game time for us, because Alisson's never really fit.
Yeah, but that would have been, for me, JK, why he could have stayed, because he knew he was already getting game time, and Ali was going towards the end of his career and would only get worse, you know, fitness-wise. Yeah. So he would have had a better chance. To me, I don't think he wanted to go, but sorry, Troth, I was just going to say I didn't see the game, so it's pointless me giving any points. So I'm going to head off just to bed, if you don't mind.
No, understood. No, take care.
Yeah.
Definitely a pleasure always.
Yeah. Oh, thanks for having me on. Look, don't forget, we're always Reds. The players will come and go. The manager will come and go. We won't. We're the fans. So
yeah. We have to have each other's back. Definitely, and I agree with that completely.
Yeah. Okay,
I noticed.
Take care,
Take care, Bernie.
Hi, Jimmy.
Big up, Jimmy. By the way, big up, Jimmy. All right. Well, Joey G. One of the few who actually competed, I think, today. I think that Joey was actually putting in some real work. I don't think Doku was some problem child that he was in the first 2 games, for instance. I know that he did have extra help on that side from Dom, but I think he actually, which is so sad about this, is that I think, like, because he was involved in the game, we were able to try to utilize long throw-ins. I know that's a reach, but then again, that's one of the few times that we actually got to see the ball go into the box and actually be a relative problem for Manchester City. There could be someone that argue that he maybe switched off for the 4th goal. I gave him a 6 out of 10 today.
Joe, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the one who was trying, bro. He was actually running with the ball pretty sound, actually. I'll give him a 5. Yeah.
Lee? Oh, Lee might have nodded off. maybe so.
Yeah, so I'll give him a
Okay.
5. Yeah, not. It was yeah.
Okay. We'll come back to Lee for his score on Joey. Ibu was next in my list here, and I think the very first duel with Holland, I thought something was off with Ibu today. Like he wasn't in for this fight today. Um, the goal
Yeah.
that he let the goal that he let in was just laziness. I don't know what it was. You can't allow for Holland to beat you to the spot, no matter what. I know it's tough to say that, but it is the truth. You know who they're going. You know he's the target man. You know that they're going to try to get crosses in for him to put into the back of the net, and he did exactly that. He went to the middle of the box, waited for the delivery, found space, got got went behind, and then got in front of Ibu to get to the ball. That's unexcusable. I gave him a 4 out of 10 actually today. What'd you give him, JK?
I'm gonna give him a 2, bro.
A 2? Okay.
Yeah.
Oof.
You know what it is with Kanate? Look at Kanate. I said this a while back. Look at Kanate for the first few moments of a game, first few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
That will tell
Mm-hmm.
you where his game's going to be that afternoon or evening. Yeah. And exactly what you just said there. As soon as I seen him playing, I was like, oh, it ain't one of them games, is it? And it
Not one of
was.
those games. It wasn't. It just wasn't. I think it's because we play with. Maybe it's because of all the reported respect that Jurgen and Pep used to give towards each other and the likes, and it's just two good teams, and it's supposed to be like the rivalry is supposed to be above board. I'm like, it's never really been that way. Manchester City has never really given us the proper respect on the pitch, I think, personally, and they've taken liberties. I think they've taken liberties at times with some of their play.
Well,
Whether it's Rodri, whether it's obviously Silva.
Yeah, he's the main one, bro. Yeah. Look, he used his initiative today. That's it. He was up for it. He was like, I'm going to beat this team. He loves playing against us, you know what I mean? He hates us. He probably hates us more than he hates Man United. And as I said before, because we gave him that competition, Pep Guardiola's thinking in his own mind, God, this Liverpool team is nothing like the one Klopp had. You know? So he's thinking like that. Like, yo, what's this team here? Pep Linders goes there, and they've done us 3 times. What secrets has he bloody gave them? You know what I mean?
Oh,
like, what's he been talking about?
Trust me. I have something special for Mr. Pep Linders at the end of the show. But big up, Eric. Definitely, I see that you're moving. You're moving. You're heading to Turkey. I think.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it.
Kudasi, right?
Merhaba.
Kusadasi, right?
Yep. Have a good one.
I think it's in Turkey. You probably know better than myself, but
yeah, it is
I've
Turkey.
been to Turkey before. But okay.
It's Turkey, yeah.
Yeah, definitely enjoy it. Turkey's a beautiful country.
Yeah, the food.
Yeah, proper food. Proper environment.
Merhaba is hello in Turkish.
There you go. All right, so we gave Ibu a 4 and a 2. Is Lee back with us yet or no? No? Yes, no? Okay. All right, so how about Virgil van Dijk? It's going to get very uncomfortable for me because Virgil van Dijk is one of my favorite players on this team, and I am very much proud that he's our captain. Unlike some others, I get that, but this wasn't just a bad game. This was one of those huge question marks on the season about a game where you just can't be bad. you have to step up and rise above no matter what. He was lazy in the penalty box. He was reactive instead of proactive. He was caught flat-footed more than once. It really was, it was poor. Just to say the least. It was very poor. He has to, he can't sulk and yell and complain about other people's play. Has to look in the mirror on this one. And I gave Virgil a 2 today. I gave Virgil a 2. What would you give him? I have, let me put this in the chat for him so he knows that I'll put on. Go ahead. What did you give him, JK?
Yep. I give Virgil a 2 as well. He was all over the place.
Okay. Let's see. Kirk has.
Man of the match.
You think? Okay. I think he's held his own definitely early. Was definitely showing fight. I'm very happy that Kirk has blossomed into a player that definitely resembles not only just the fighting aspect of it, but like as in the show the grit, show intensity, energy on the pitch, but also being able to hone it in so that you can properly switch gears when you have to switch gears and bring about chaos, but controlled chaos. I think Kirk has found something of that comfortable middle medium, and he was against elite competition today, elite creativity. Got eventually overwhelmed, though. I will admit that. Pressure came. He had no support on the pressure, which again I think raises a bigger issue of, okay, you got Joey on one side having support and the likes, and on the other side, you didn't, obviously. If Kirkaz was on the island by himself, so I gave Kirkaz a 5 out of 10 today. What did you give him, JK?
Kirkaz, yeah?
Yeah.
I'm going to give him 7 because he was the only one who was putting energy into that game. Yeah, best out of a bad bunch.
Okay.
And the manager should go into the changing rooms and say, listen, if none of you guys are playing like this guy, get out of the team. As simple as, man. Look at the energy that Kirkaz is giving. 100% he gives. Yeah.
Yeah, he did. He did, absolutely did. Yeah, I think he put an effort. I would have given him a 6, but I gave him a 5 since there was that one of the goals that come down his wing where he could have done a little bit better, but I gave him a slight demotion because of that. But other than that, I thought he played solid. I'm going to say this, possibly one of the worst games for this next individual. Worked hard, but covering space and everything else, but you don't get you only get so many points for running, help defensively, but it came at a cost because him helping defensively meant that we weren't going to be able to utilize him offensively. I think I guess you could say he survived on the pitch rather than shape the pitch to his liking. Dami Sabasalai, I gave a 5 out of 10. What would you give them? Dominic Sabasalai. So boss, no lie.
4.
4. Okay. Yeah. I think if you were to let me just also address that. I see the comment by Lee. If you were to take the armband from Virgil van Dijk, you might as well basically open the door for him to leave the team.
Yeah.
So, for those people out there saying that Virgil needs to get the armband stripped from him, I'm not saying it's a entitlement for him, but what I will say is that there people in that locker room do look at him as a leader. They look at him as one of the few people that is a leader, considering not many people really understand um, how much you have to go through being the captain. You're the face of the team. You have to answer questions and during a year where you might not be having a great year, but your team's not having a great year, and you have to be the not even spokesperson, but the the person that stands in front of that camera and takes all the abuse. So yeah, I just think that I think that there's a lot of players that still recognize Virgil for his good for his leadership. I just think that Virgil van Dijk's been overworked and
Yeah,
overused this
overworked, bro.
season.
Played 2 games for Holland in the international break.
Yeah, he
Friendlies.
didn't have to. I
Didn't need
don't
to have to do
understand
that.
why he didn't have to do that. I would have rather seen
Koeman,
us do what Arsenal did and fake some stupid injury for the guy so that he could take a week off.
yeah, but that's where Arne Slot and Ronald Koeman should have phoned each other and spoken Dutch and said to each other, "Er kan niks spelen." That he can't play them 2 games. Take him for the base, let him hang around and stuff, but don't play him because you want him for the World Cup to be fit. Okay, he's your captain. He's going to play the game. So test out Van de Ven or the other players, centre backs. Give them a game. Let them be captains. Give Virgil this rest because we need him when he come back for these games coming up, and you need him for the World Cup. So common sense there, bro. Overplayed.
I'm not even going to play the soundtrack for him. Gravy. Oh my goodness, he was running stale gravy today. Was booked very early in this game
Yeah, that
for a
ruined
stupid
him.
foul. That absolutely took out all the fight and vigor from him, in my opinion. Once he couldn't press, he'd lost all the influence that he normally has. And City took advantage of it. I gave Grab a 3 out of 10.
Yeah, about right.
These ratings are harsh, but true.
But the manager
all right.
needs to pick up on this. Like, you know what? As soon as Gravenberch is booked, his game completely breaks down. So I need to bring him off when he's booked nowadays. And you know what I mean?
Yeah. Curtis Jones, Cujo. He had energy. We all knew that he was going to bring energy to the pitch. That wasn't the issue. But one of his strongest attributes, quote unquote, is supposed to be his control and ability to dribble and have control the ball. It's non-existent today for the most part. Too loose in possession, too inconsistent execution, and didn't have the composure that I wanted to see from someone getting a big time start in a big time game. I gave him a 4 out of 10. What'd you give Cujo? JK.
Like another game where Curtis could have thought, you know what? I want to start in Paris. Let me show the manager why. There you go.
Yep.
Didn't do it.
Yep.
Simple.
Yep.
I'm going to give Curtis a 3 as well.
Okay. All right. I thought the one player that looked like he belonged on the pitch, at least for a good majority of the game, he found pockets of space. He showed intelligence. He technically was creative and showed quality. Um, I know, unfortunately, football isn't played in moments per se. You have to have sustained contributions, and defensively, he does not bring what we need on the pitch, to be honest with you. At least not today. And that's where it definitely showed. I gave Flo a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, out of the outfield players, he was probably the pick for the early promise we showed before their pen, which was fairly late in the first half.
Hmm.
And he had picked up pockets of space and looked like a top player in a top game. But then when we
Hmm.
fell apart, obviously he faded. Curtis, yeah, he is good at keeping the ball and all that palaver, but like only when the team around him is functioning, like, you know what I mean? It didn't do as much good today, like really, because the team performance just wasn't there.
Hmm.
Yeah, he could keep the ball maybe and give it to someone else, but then more often than not, it'd be coming straight back at us, which is the problem now, isn't it? Like it's coming back at us too quickly.
So, what'd you want to rate him as?
For Wirtz, I'll say like a 6, and for Curtis, I'll say a 4 because it was such a crap midfield performance. That, any more than that would be foolish.
Yeah,
But for Wirtz, yeah, 6.
like I'm a big fan of Words. I think he's a quality player. Against Switzerland, he got 2 goals, 2 assists, ran the show. Today, he could look like he couldn't run a bath. He did for the first 20 minutes or so, him and
Hmm.
Ekatike, but that's where we got to take advantage of games like that against City away. Because
Mm.
City away are going to attack, no matter how good they are at the time, form-wise, they are going to try to score goals. And they
Hmm.
did. And we didn't,
Hmm.
and we didn't early on. We had a good 2, 3 chances at the start of the game to have a good lead. And
Hmm.
Works for me, bro. Whew. Quality player. I wish he had a bit more adrenaline in him, but
Mm.
that comes from the manager. I think the manager's job is to bring that adrenaline out of his players.
Hmm.
The way it happened with Sabotolai was they brought Florian Wirtz, and he was flapping it. He's going to lose his spot in the team.
Mm.
With Wirtz, I think a top coach would say, lad, you got all the tricks in the book. Quality-wise, there's no one better than you on the ball. Let's put a bit of gas into your game, a bit of speed, a little bit of oomph in there. Then we'll see how good you are, you know what I mean? And I don't
Hmm.
see that in him, Florian.
Hmm.
But Wirtz, he's a top player, but I'm going to give him a 5 today. Yeah.
How about well, we only had 2 forwards today. We got one of like, I got the formation I wanted to see, the 4-2-2-2 or 4-4-2, but it's just that I just think unfortunately for us, once Grav became a non-factor in the midfield,
Mm-hmm.
Curtis Jones was pretty much ho hum in the midfield. That pivot became pretty much a weak link in the midfield. You're not getting much defense out of flow going forward. Dom was all over the place as usual, but I mean, like, you're overusing him, and he's overcompensating defensively for the lack of. So therefore, you don't have a proper midfield box that can, really consume the midfield with the presence of possession. So Ekatike and Salah were up front for us today, and I'll go with Ekatike first on this. I thought his movement was there. I thought he was, trying to run into spaces. The intent was there. The shot over the bar today was absolutely poor. He had all day to think about it, and he absolutely let loose a horrible shot. End product was suspect. That's not good enough for a big time striker. They're going to be our number 9. I've heard plenty of people comment on our striker, our number nines from the past that didn't necessarily have the accuracy that you would want from a striker, then you have to hold him accountable too. Today, he was not. He was just not there for us. But he did win the penalty. I'll give him that. But other than that, there wasn't really much out of Ekitike that I was over the moon about. I gave Ekitike a 4 out of 10.
That sounds about right. I think he wasn't clinical today. He had 2 chances to score, bro. Real good chances, I believe. Put too much energy in the shots to make sure he scored because he wanted to score, sort of thing. You know what I mean? He blazed it over the bar and stuff. Look, he early on, him and Wirtz looked like they were in the game, and it was good to see. But other than that, not great. I'll give him a 4, bro.
Okay. Lee?
Yeah, I'll give him a 4 too. There was early promise. Got Rodri booked when he made away from him. That one that that chance he had that he blazed over. Sometimes Hugo's failing is that when he has too much time for a shot such as that, he can't do it, or has too much time for a header. He's better when he's actually running with the ball, you know, to make something happen his way. When he's waiting around, sometimes having too much time to contemplate what he's going to do, and mess him up. I think with Hugo, like, but that'll change with time. Hopefully, as he becomes a more experienced striker, he is still young when you compare him to Isa.
It's true what Lee Wiskett says about Hugo was wide all the time on the left. We had no one in the box. We had no one in the box, bro. They had there was times, even today, on that goal where Haaland scored on his header, we had about 6-7 players around that area. They had 2, and them 2 beat the. And Ekitike kept on floating on to the left.
Yeah.
Who's in the box? Who's in the middle? Who's there? No one.
Yeah. Yeah, very true. Last but not least, Mohamed Salah. Okay, so let's just rip this Band-Aid off as discreetly as possible. The performance no one wants to talk about, honestly, probably, is that he missed the big moments. He missed the penalty. And in between, I don't think he was even mentally involved in the game. You could tell that something was off. You could just sense that despite him saying that he'll be ready for this game, I think mentally he just wasn't. I'm not saying this isn't about legacy today. This isn't about questioning if Mohamed Salah is a legend. He is and always will be. But today, this was the reality of it, and the reality is this version of Salah is not a starter for this team. I'm sorry to say that, but he is not a starter if that's the kind of mentality he's going to bring to the pitch where he's just out of it. Look, the best players in the world sometimes go through slumps. They go through mental, obstacles that they have to get over and they have to get through. And hopefully you have the support of your teammates, but your coach included. But I mean, like, realistically, the last person and the only person that's going to get you through this is yourself. And again, Lee spoke on the fact that he felt the same way I did. I don't know if JK mentioned that or not, whether he thought that or too, but we're down. I think we're down 3-1 at the time, 4-1 at the time, and we get the penalty finally. And it's just a case or a situation where we can maybe save face a little bit on this game, so it's not a 4-0 shutout. And when he was sitting there in that penalty box, I was like, he's got doubt. in his mind. This is the same doubt that I saw when Mohamed Salah missed those 2 penalties that resulted in us, I think, resulting in us getting his 2 penalty misses resulted in us getting Europa that year. I believe that was the year that he missed the 2 penalties against, I think, Bournemouth, I want to say, and there's another team he missed them against.
Best chance of us scoring today was an own goal.
Yeah. I'm just gonna be this is out of respect, but I gave Mohamed Salah a 1 today. He's not the lowest score on my books, so, but I gave him a 1. 1 out of 10. He is one of our leaders. Everyone in the chat, not everyone, but a good number of you in the chat. I don't know if the panel's been harsh on VVD or not, but I mean, look, VVD is our captain. I understand that he wears the armband, but there's more than one leader on this team. He was asked, our coach was asked that question, and he said he's not going to single out VVD. He's not going to single out Salah today for lack of leadership. But let's be honest, there's more than one leader on this team. More than one person that people have said that they would nominate as the captain, quote unquote, to be that symbolic, I wear the armband. We all know that on this team, there is more than just one leader. And Salah has to step up and give us that. He has to step up and give us that. And I don't believe Salah has, unfortunately, this season. And I'm hoping, because I love him as a player and as an individual, that he proves me wrong and steps it up and makes the most of the rest of the season, because we're going to need him. But I gave him a 1 out of 10 today. What did you give him? Jimmy, I saw I gave him a 2. What did you give him, Lee?
2.
Okay.
Good job, Gakpo weren't playing anything to start.
Yeah, we'll get to subs in a second. What did you give him, JK?
I'll give him a 3.
1, 2, 3. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. This is some Jackson 5. Oh, baby, give me one more chance, huh? All right. ABCs. Easy as 1, 2, 3. Not my fault. All right, let's go through these subs real quickly, because I was going to look up when actually Arnie introduced the subs to this game. It's pretty late. I know that. It was like 65th minute, 64th minute, I want to say. Did not play. I don't know what that means. Let me see. Slot is a legend, but I don't consider him as Liverpool player anymore. So it's a lone sheep. Wow, that's pretty harsh. Again, we got substitutes in this game in the 62nd minute, right before Salah's 64th minute penalty. We got subs, and then it was Frimpong in at the 62nd minute, and then we had the rest come in the 67th, 68th, and then the 77th minute. So all of them got time to be rated. So we'll just go again, just to make it easy. I'll give each one of us a player to rate, and then we can just go that direction. What was your rating for Frimpong, JK? What was your rating for Frimpong? And then I'll let you rate McAllister. Or
Yeah,
I'll
it
let you
looks
rate
sound.
Rio.
Frimpong showed a bit of energy. Give him a 5.
All right. That's actually the grading I gave him. How about for you, JK? I'm not sure, JK. Lee McAllister. For McAllister.
Brown McAllister. Subs made little difference. Did the McAllister 3?
He gave him a 3. Oh. I actually
Yeah.
thought McAllister did. I thought McAllister played well.
No,
The game was already
okay.
gone.
He was better than what we had on the pitch, anyway.
Yeah, he showed a little bit of fight, I thought. Rio,
Hard.
I
Coming up,
guess.
our midfield today, like for Mac, but the subs didn't help, did they? Like, I mean, it didn't help turn the tide of the game at all. We just kept on conceding goals.
Lee, what was your rating for Rio then? I'll let you guys do the majority of the rating for them.
A brighter appearance than maybe the others. I'd give him a 4 for those like.
I thought he was a breath of fresh air a little bit on the pitch, despite us being down.
Yeah, he hasn't done what it did. He tried his best, but nothing was going to lift us today, was it? Like, so I'll keep my sub scores quite low. In accordance with one another, but it is the best one. Like I would say, I'd give him a 6, not a 5. Give him a 6.
Big up the Pops in the house. Big up.
Oh, bless
Pops.
Pops.
We had one of your fellow content creators from your channel, commonly known as the Streets. Streets of Gold is what I call him because he's got a heart of gold, and got to keep his mind and his soul upbeat, my friend. Definitely, Pops. Keep him in the game. He's trying to take a hiatus from the community, but the streets are calling. So that's how it is. All right. For next on the list, Chiesa. 77th minute introduction into this game for Salah. Didn't really have much impact, but tell me what you thought was his rating, JK.
Chiesa, like, passing the ball someone. You know what I mean? The guy's running around everywhere, didn't even touch the ball, I don't think. So, yeah.
So what'd you give him?
I'll give him a 4, bro.
4? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Chiesa wasn't really given a proper chance. By then we were dead and buried. I agree. I mean, I'm not saying that we weren't, but like all true professionals, again, and for players playing for dignity and pride, like as in if you're down 3-4-0 by the time you get onto the pitch, actually it was 4-0 by the time you got on the pitch, and you've got a good 23 minutes at least to make an impact. Go out there and play like it's the last 20 minutes of the season. Get out there and work your butt off. Try to give your teammates something to hang their hat on, in the sense of like something that can inspire them into it all. I'm not saying he could do it all by himself. No, I'm not saying that, but sometimes it only takes one spark from one player. I know that we've seen it from. I'll reference. I know it's a different coach, different team, but I remember our game. I want to say it was against Fulham. I want to say it was against Fulham, and I remember the Endo got into the game, was few people think of him as being the goal scorer. He ends up scoring the goal, and then Trent Alexander-Arnold comes in, or ends up not coming in, but ends up ending the game with a game winner for us in that game. It was just like fight. It was like, I remember Endo, rah-rahing the team back to say, stand up, get. I know your heads are down, but pick them up and let's do this. We need a little bit more of that. That's all I'm trying to get across. Is that I'd like to see that, and that can come from any place, even in a dead rubber like this.
Yeah.
But
Just quickly, Lone Sheep saying he could have announced his departure at the end of the season. I think that would have been the wiser thing to do.
yeah,
Because what would happen? The World Cup will come, so it would have been sort of forgotten about then, pretty
yeah,
quick. And
yeah.
I think the way we run as a club sometimes is very cringe and unprofessional. We like EastEnders is a soap opera, like Dynasty Dallas. Like we run like that. They love their little bit of oh, this is happening and this is happening and this is happening, and we're like, yo, why are you even telling us for? Look at last season, bro. Last season could have messed up because of the news about Trent leaving and Salah leaving, Van Dijk leaving. We had that nonsense going on all the time. This season, we've had a few stories as well. So it's like he's checked out, as Lone Sheep says. I'm not sure I think Salah's disappointed in the way he's been handled by the club, my opinion, after giving everything what he's given us. My opinion, he feels probably disrespected because him and Slot don't get on. My opinion, and I think Slot plays him not because of angst, but yeah, it's the thing to do. Play Salah, you know what I mean? But you could tell there's some beef there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
and
can.
that's not. And the thing is, in a weird way, even if the owners do decide to get rid of Slot, it's worked out beneficial to them because they've got Salah off the wages for next season. That's 20 million saved.
No, I agree. I understand what you're getting at. I look. Again, I know. This is not trying to be a player versus player type situation. I'm just saying that the precedent that he set could have been followed, and that is, even when Mane chose to leave the team, he waited till the end of the season to announce it, pretty much.
That's right. I'm not into that middle of the season telling us information nonsense, and we do it
Yeah,
too much. Look at Arne Slot, bro. He was telling
yeah,
the whole world he's going to be the next Liverpool manager, and he was still in the job at Paranoid. Jurgen did it, and that weren't great timing for me as well. The Salah thing, not great timing as well.
no, it wasn't. And if anything, I don't think his play is warranted 400,000, obviously, pounds a week.
Yeah, but
But then
look,
again,
last
for
season he
all
did.
of the
Yeah,
years previous, it's kind of like a thank you payment, I guess you could say, in essence.
yeah.
You
And the thing is, I
have
look
you
at
have. Did you give Chiesa a rating, by the way? I'm sorry.
yeah, for.
Before, okay, just making sure. There's one other player left. That's why. But go ahead.
I just wanted to say to Oliver in the chat, he's like throwing on everything, still not making any impact, just shows the terrible tactics. As soon as you see Rio Chiesa on the pitch, we're in trouble. It's like that. All the game's done. It's 3-0 to the opposition. Yep, took them on. They could even start it today, really, considering the scoreline. Yeah, so I agree there.
I was gonna type it out for Pops, but I think he did. I think Mane did announce like in right before the Champions League final that he was going to be moving on, and I don't really mind that. I understand you probably could have waited. He might have even announced after the final whistle, but even if it was before the final whistle, it's at least something that you can use that as that one let's play for Mane card or something like that. Knowing that you've got 7 games in the Premier League, you've got a quarterfinal, you've got a home and away against PSG. That's a lot of games to know that you're going to be moving, that a disgruntled player is leaving the team. And it's very simple of what I saw a fantastic piece. I wish I could play the interview. Um, I'll see about making a transcript of the interview if I can. But it was an interview by Jurgen Klopp, who spoke on Coutinho. And he spoke on about how he wanted Coutinho to stay so badly because he knew how much of a great talent Coutinho was. He tried to convince him this way and that way to get him to stay. And he even mentioned about the fact that sometimes on the pitch he was giving 40%. And I mean, that was like 40%. That's horrible. But 40% of like effort on the pitch sometimes, and because a result of, there was only one team that he wanted to go to, and that was Barcelona. And when Barcelona made their pitch, that was enough of the nudge for him to want to go and do what he needed to do. And he spoke about how he's gotten offers for Salah and he got offers for other players, and he told him no, 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 no. But it was the fact that, a lot of the impact of having a player that actively says they want to leave the team can really, really have a lasting effect on the locker room. And he spoke about how once he knew that it was pretty much a done deal with Coutinho and that his mind was set, that's why he gave up the battle of trying to convince him, and he moved on. I think that's it's a very interesting. I'll send you the link if you want, Pops. It's a very interesting. It's just a little snippet. It's not the full article. I mean, full interview, but it's a very interesting snippet of the interview. There's something I never heard too of him giving the answer on Coutinho.
Well,
like
the
him
thing
knowing.
about that is like at the time we showed Coutinho, we had no idea that. I mean, going back to the time when they first wanted him, Jurgen didn't know like that it was going to work out so swimmingly by getting Alisson and Van Dijk. That only come later, when the deal was pretty much like sealed. But before that, he wanted them to stay. Why wouldn't he?
Why wouldn't he? He was one of our best players.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was one of our best players. He was absolutely. I still think Coutinho made the wrong decision, unfortunately, because I think that Coutinho could have been a phenomenal player with us if he continued on. Albeit we might not have resulted in getting VVD and Ali, or maybe would have to. I think we would have figured out more. We would have figured out some other creative ways to bring in VVD and bring in AB1, as Pops is saying. But yeah, I still think I think we would have brought them in still. All right, let me get this last player into the record books for the ratings real quick so we can move on. I didn't hold off as long as I could, simply because he's a player that I do like. But Cody Gakpo, barely involved. I think that's the worst thing you can say about an attacker. I'll admit that right now and here. He was certainly a non-factor. He was relatively invisible. Some people might not even know that he was on the pitch, other than the fact that the camera was on him for getting in. The referee, for some reason, wouldn't let him into the game. Maybe he was a Scouser fan, or maybe he's a Reds fan too. But a disgruntled Reds fan that doesn't want to see Cody get any playing time. But I gave Cody a 4 out of 10 today. Give a 4. All right. Last but not least, this is where everything circles back, because for 35, maybe 40 minutes, you could see something of a team effort out there, structure, maybe some shape, maybe even some call a loosely knit plan. But football isn't played in 30, 40-minute bouts. It's played in 90-minute bouts. And this is why this team has struggled this season. We didn't respond when we went behind. We collapsed. We hung our heads and sulked and looked like we were defeated. And that's exactly the end result. And I think, again, that reflects on the team as a collective, but ultimately, when you're the coach, the buck stops with you. The buck stops with you. Long before, I'll tell you this quick analogy. Long before we ended up, long before he moved on to the Kansas City Chiefs. This is American football, I know, but this is a relevant reference. We used to have a coach named Andy Reid. Andy Reid went on to win Super Bowls, multiple Super Bowls with the Kansas City Chiefs. Okay. He is a fantastic coach. He also was a coach that brought my Philadelphia Eagles to multiple Super Bowls as well. Okay. All of which we lost. But he would always, there was something that he would say after games we lost. And he would say, "This is on me." He would take, much like Klopp would say sometimes, he would say, "This is on me. The buck stops here. I have to do a better job." We don't hear those things from Slot. We don't hear those things from Slot. What we hear from Slots are excuse, deflection, another excuse, and I'm smarter than you lecture. I gave Arne Slot today the lowest rating I've ever given anyone. That is a 0.5. I can't give him a 0 because I got to give him something. I'm giving him a 0.5. That's how disappointed and disgusted I was. The fact that it took you to the 62nd minute for you to get subs on the pitch when we're down 4-0. Now we had 2 weeks to plan for this game, and it looked like you winged it. You gave hints, as Lady B was talking about earlier, and JK spoke on earlier too. He gave hints as to what we were planning on doing for defending against you, what we were planning on doing in our attack against you, against City, that is. I give Arne Slot 8.5. What do you guys give him? JK, what do you give him?
Mm-hmm.
Lee had to check out.
Lee, peace, Lee. Great having you on. I'm giving Arne Slot a P45 and a flight back home. Nothing other than that. Look, as I said before, he got it sort of right with the lineup. He got the first 20 minutes or so sorted. The players crumbled after that penalty. He was pissed. You could see the frustration. He was shouting all the time. I ain't really seen that in Arne Slot enough. A bit of rowdiness, you know what I mean? But it wasn't like a 1-0, 2-1 sort of defeat. It was a 4-0 drubbing. Could have been worse. Could have been like a 6-2. Brian was saying earlier. You know, it could have been like a crazy score and that. But all in all, bro, these players are not playing for this guy no more. When you're getting 1 point from 9, that tells me everything as an owner of Liverpool Football Club, what I need to do. Because I think that European break, that little international break we just had was the prime time to get someone in to make sure these superstars we've got in our team to be look forward to playing Champions League next season. I don't want to see Ekatike and Wirtz playing on a Thursday. You know, it makes a big difference. Also, unless you're paying the big bucks, getting players in. We won the league. Florian Wirtz and Ekatike, Frimpong want to play for Liverpool. That's what happens when you win. Look, I feel a bit sorry for Arne Slot. But then again, I don't, because he's so adamant in portraying an image of himself to the world that he's actually forgot about the job he's fucking doing.
Yep.
Bang on. There you go. Spot on, that is. And that's,
Yeah.
I see it in the energy when he comes on the screen. And he's a smart guy. He's not born yesterday, but he ain't got no common sense in a weird way. Because common sense tells me, don't give the opposition an inkling into the game. Not even a little sniff of trying to get into the game. But he loves doing it. He's like, you know what, lads, they have the ball for the last 12, 13, 14 minutes of the game. See if you get an equaliser and a winner, maybe. There you go, lads. They have it. And that's his tactics. It's not the players. Okay. So you can see the difference between Andy Robertson under Klopp and Andy Robertson under Slot, and that will tell you everything you need to know about Slot and Klopp, the difference, and the way we are as a club right now. We had 2 trophies to win this season left. One's already gone. There's only PSG, a Bayern Munich or Real Madrid, and maybe an Arsenal or a Barcelona in the way. Yeah. And PSG won on Friday, was it? 3-1 at home.
Yeah.
I think Toulouse. Yeah. So, and the rest of a few of their players. They were all together this morning watching that game, my opinion. Enriquez rang up the boys, come round, lads. We'll have a barbecue. The weather's great. We'll watch that Liverpool Man City game and let's see what we can learn from watching this game. They'll probably be fucking laughing their heads off.
Yeah.
Let's get the first goal. Their tactics were, listen, let's get that first goal quick. And then these lot will crumble. There you go. The manager don't need to say no team talk. Enrique should say, there you go, lads. You've seen it. Proof's in the pudding right there on the screen. They were great. And then all of a sudden, they were really bad. Why?
Yeah.
Because Man City scored. That's not Slot's fault still. I still blame the players for today's game, bro. Yeah. Normally I would say Slot, yeah, he did this wrong, he did that wrong, but I can't really say that. It's just for me, Mamardashvili, Kanate and Van Dijk were terrible. And whoever was meant to be in front of them was terrible. So that little diamond triangle there let us down today. Because attacking wise, we seemed okay, flowing first half. We were flowing, bro. Yeah. And I think Virgil van Dijk on that challenge when he gave the pen away should have got his leg across even more, that he was going to meet the ball instead of the way he did it. He tried to be a little bit smart with it, like a little touch there. But realistically, he should have got his leg properly across and sort of slide tackled him. It would have been the better option, in my opinion. But hey.
Yeah.
Exactly. It was the players on the pitch who gave up, not Slot.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. It was the players on the pitch that definitely ended up giving up. But I mean, realistically, if you are a coach that has any bit of a connection with your players, then tell me games where you remember where in a quarterfinals or semifinals or or games where you're 90 minutes away from going to Wembley, where you saw a team quit on a coach. And I think that's what we saw today.
That would not happen in the Klopp, really, constantly. You know what I mean? Might happen in the odd game and that. But you will never see our players put their head down. You know?
Yeah.
When you look at the Istanbul team, second half, I've not seen that once in our Arne Slot team. You know?
That's the whole point. That is the whole point. What I have to say is that you would not.
Why is he trying to conserve energy for? I don't understand that philosophy of Arne Slot. If you only want to use 13, 14, 15 players in your whole squad for the whole season, that's your choice. But don't expect your guys to be running 100 miles per hour every game, every 3 games a week. You know? You don't really trust. He's only trusted his squad players now, recently. Why? Because he was thinking it's the last option now. I've got to try it. The fans are going mad. They want to see more Rio, more Chiesa, more whoever. Yeah. But I think Red Armchair, bro. I think the players show respect through the manager and how they play the game for the manager. They should really think, you know what, like Kirkes did. Kirkes tried to listen to the manager, and he didn't get him nowhere. He was getting shouted at by Van Dijk. The fans weren't happy. Everyone was saying we should have got that guy from Fulham. But Kirkes thought one day, you know what, sod that. I'm going to do my own game, what I did at Bournemouth. And since then, bro, he's been our best player. Sometimes you've got to take the initiative in your own hands. I remember when I used to play constantly Sunday League football and stuff, I never really listened to my manager. I knew what I had to do, and I'll do it.
Yeah.
And that's how football is, man.
Yeah. I did say I had a op-ed, but we're already at 2 hours in. My op-ed is like a pretty long, lengthy op-ed that I put together, primarily because it's somewhat related to some of the different shows that I saw today, some of the content creators out there in the community that had different takes, whether it was Ensman or Savage together. Oh man. Whether it was Cal and Drifty, whether it was um, Lawrence McKenna, who I did actually engage pretty heavily, harshly against. I don't say harshly, but I pretty much got a lengthy retort to his take because he was unwilling
Blaming
to.
Darwin Nunez.
No, he didn't. Yeah, he's probably blaming Darwin Nunez. I'm surprised he
You
didn't.
know what I mean?
I'm
We lost
surprised he
against
didn't.
Man City. Why? I'm fucking Darwin
Yeah,
Nunez's fault.
it's Darwin
You weren't here.
Nunez and it's Chiesa and Elliott's are the problem for our loss. That's what he would say. But no, honestly and sincerely, he spoke on how in this game he said he didn't want to critique this game. It wasn't worth it. For like as in the play or about the players and the likes and such, so something to the extent, and that he was the essence of what he was speaking about um in his in what he had to say at least was over allowing for Arne Slot to leave with some dignity if he's going to leave this team at the end of the season, to allow for him to leave with some dignity. So uh, to focus your blame elsewhere than on the coach and on the players, who I do think and I agree with him that they do deserve their fair share of the blame for a season that ultimately they're on the pitch to delivering the product, not the coach. But the coach is supposed to set them up for success, in my opinion. And I don't think this coach has. People have made fun of his training sessions. We don't get to see all of his training sessions, but I mean, people have made fun of his training sessions. People have made light of his ability to uh, break the wrong kinds of records. And he's gotten some of the good, better ones, but he's gotten some of the poor ones. And I think that my one retort to Mr. McKenna, and again, this is someone that I respect, is actually one of my favorite content creators out there. Actually, he's one of the few content creators that I do follow pretty extensively. But one of my retorts to him and his showing dignity or allowing for him to leave with dignity is that I think if you're going to if you want respect, you have to give respect. And I think that unfortunately there have been numerous occasions where I've seen this coach throw players under the bus. I've seen him take shots at our former coach Jurgen Klopp. I've seen him take shots at our fan base. And unfortunately, right now, he is not standing on much of credit. So again, I will support this coach to get us results till the end of the season or until the end of his term as our coach. But I do ask for him to show the proper respect to the fans, to the former players, to former coaches, to all the aspects of us, and just take accountability. Basically, I'll give a more full-hearted and thorough response. But yeah, I just want to. I just want to be. I don't want to have a coach that says that doesn't understand that there's more than just the X's and O's, as I spoke on earlier with Bernie. You got to not only win on the pitch, you've got to win the hearts of the fans off the pitch. Winning helps. It obviously will make a lot of fans look beyond your flaws personally. But for me, I think that there is, everyone knows I'm a little bit of a football romantic. For me, there's more than just X's and O's. You need to make a real connection with the fans so that they can back you when the times are tough, and they know that you're going to be with them when it gets down to the nitty and gritty. So I guess here we are, outclassed, outplayed, out of real true answers for the most part. And I'll tell you the truth, it didn't even feel like much of a shock to a lot of us. Some of us were hopeful, myself included. I hoped that we could have gotten a result, which we didn't, obviously. But it felt expected when we stepped onto the pitch. You could kind of sense that there wasn't an energy amongst us. And it tells you everything about this Liverpool team right now. This PSG game is coming. And let's be honest, that's not where the decision should be made, but the decision should already be clear, because the question isn't any longer, can Liverpool compete with the best? I'm hoping that we have an answer for why have we fallen so far from being one of the elite teams that have been feared in this league, on this continent.
Because of, I'm trying to prove a point here by ripping the soul out of the club in the way of players, Harvey Elliott, Darwin Núñez, these type of guys, who would give you 100%. You know, he did it with Chiesa as well. One guy who was given 100% every time he had a chance, and then what happened? He didn't play him for about 6 weeks when he was finding form. Man management skills, major worry for me from this guy.
No, you're right. You're right about that. Yeah.
Big up Tom Izzy as well in the chat.
John Wick in the building. Man, management skills. Look, today was an opportunity for Curtis Jones to make a real definitive stance that he deserves to start on this team. However, how often does Curtis Jones get runs in the team for him to have real form and real semblance? Curtis Jones is not playing with England. The last time I looked, I don't think he's on the English team, right?
Yeah.
So that means that Curtis Jones was home in Liverpool for 2 weeks, sitting around. He could be sitting around in the in the film room with Arnie for 2 weeks. He was there. He should have known. He should have known the game plan for this game better than Arne Slot.
I know.
Joe Gomez, Ekitike, or Ekitike went away, but Ekitike, Frimpong, VVD, Kirkes, they all are responsible for their actions on the pitch. A whole lot. feel bad for the subs because I mean they're lumped into this. By the time they got on into the game at 4-0, just as Pop said earlier, the game was done and dusted. But all the same, play for the pride. Play for something to say that you don't go home with your tail between your legs. Spotlight is running. It has run out of anything to say. I wonder who decides the players to do press duties. I agree. I know that Dom has basically, he's frustrated. He is frustrated. And I think that he is probably frustrated because the Liverpool environment, community, world that he's evolved in is something that he needs to know is very much different right now. And where did he go on holiday? I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not disputing that. I'm just asking, where did he go? Or are you just making? I'm just asking if that's true, or are you just saying that he went on holiday? Like it looked like he went on holiday. Um.
Yeah, he had time there to reflect on. There's a World Cup coming on in the summer. There's international coming on now. You got Mainu playing for Man United in there for the England team. I'm not.
Mhm.
Curtis Jones will never be a leader in that way of a Gerrard would was. Curtis Jones is a good player. He's not a bad football player, but I think sometimes he plays real good. Then sometimes you realise is he even playing? You know, that's the difference between you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
They can go on holidays and so can Arne Slot and that, but at the end of the day, make sure before you go on holiday you leave with a smile.
Okay.
You know?
I see what you're saying. Pops is right. He went rather than he took a page out of our coach's book. Curtis Jones did not stay in Merseyside during the international break. Instead, he took time off for a holiday in Spain to rest after not being selected for the England squad. He used the time to recharge with family, as shown in the updates from that period. Curtis.
Yeah. Today was a game for me. Like I want to start Wednesday. Show the manager where you want to start, and he didn't do it for me.
Yeah. That's disappointing to see. I don't like it when players do that. Sometimes it's not going to, even though it is important to have special time, to have family time, and how that can be important and therapeutic. Get that, but when your livelihood is just that, your work on the pitch, then you're gonna have to make the most of it. Decide to go to Spain. All right. You're gonna be asked to be starting in the starting lineup for a game against the Etihad. And you decide to go to Spain. All right. That's disappointing to hear, in my opinion. But it's to each their own. They choose. We all have choices. So, all right. I have a few things that I could bring up for our moment. I guess we could end on some positive moments of Red Zen. There was a there was a I'm trying to think if I should show this first or first last. No, I'll show this last actually. There was a birthday to be had, and that was like the wish happy birthday to Harvey Elliott. Yes, shown in um, a Liverpool kit. I understand that he does at the moment play for Villa in essence on loan, but he is still a red in my mind and heart. So shout out to Harvey Elliott, forever a red, whether he stays with Villa or comes back. I hope that he does come back. I hope that he comes back with a fresh start, a fresh opportunity. Happy birthday to, yes, as Red Armchair supporter said, ringlets and and I will say this: it was a pretty incredible magic trick that I did see on the sidelines. I saw this gentleman reacting to a goal, happy, sprout, pumping the fist, going crazy. And after he leaped, for some reason, don't know why, but his pure, true self emerged. Oh my
He has
goodness.
arisen.
He has arisen.
Oh, wow.
Oh, Pep. Oh,
People
jeez.
like that are involved in football. That's what's wrong with the game, bro. The guy ain't got no soul. He's gone to
None.
Manchester and told us whole trade secrets of Liverpool Football
None.
Club. We lost 3 games in a row to Man City, 9-1 on aggregate or 10-1.
Yeah.
There you go.
He brought up his time in Liverpool and the lessons he learned and how it was able to benefit him today in this win, basically in his press conference interview after the game.
If
That
you
is
told me, oh, go on, bro.
this guy right here.
If you told me one day
Absolutely.
the guy next to Klopp on the sidelines for the last 2 years of his career at Liverpool was gone one day going to be doing press conferences for Man City and cheer like that against us, I'd be like, bro, no way.
No
And it's
way.
happened. And it's
No
happened.
way.
That tells you the state of football, the state of Pep Linders and who he is. That is just okay. Yeah, he's got to eat. I understand that. You got to work on that. But Man City, bro, like,
Man
come on.
City now. No.
That,
There's plenty of
you
teams
know,
that plenty of teams. You're once one of the you're the assistant to one of the best coaches in the world, legendary coach in Jurgen Klopp. If you don't think that you could get another gig at any other team in the world other than Arsenal or Manchester City or Manchester United, all we're saying is those 3 teams for the most part, because we know you're not getting a shot at Real Madrid and you're not getting a shot at Barcelona or something like that. So if you can get this sticking to England and you could stay off the coaching staff of Manchester United, Manchester City, or Arsenal, that's all we say. That's all we ask. But for you to celebrate, and I get it, people will be like, "Oh, well, he's their coach, and why can't he celebrate?" He took real joy in our demise. That's how I see it.
yeah, like any decent bloke would just maybe clap. Because he was on the sidelines today, bro. It was his day. It was Pep Linder's day today. He's like, okay,
It
Liverpool,
was,
you didn't give me the full-time job.
yeah,
I'll show
yep,
you fuckers. And there you go.
yep.
And you see,
There
and
you
that's
go.
why you see that behavior. Yeah, Pops, like I said, everyone's got to eat and stuff. But the way he's done it, There's no class in that.
No,
Salzburg got rid
no.
of him just like that. They were like, no thanks. Bobby
I
Clark's
don't
on
really see.
loan.
I don't really see the comparison to the Real Madrid thing, though. To be honest with you,
What do you mean?
Real Madrid is a team that we might see in the like in. Trust me, I hate Real Madrid, but Real Madrid is a team that we might see in maybe a home and away in the cup in the league. Oh no, excuse me, in Champions League competition, or maybe you see them in the league phase of the competition. We've seen them in the last 2 years. I get that, but that's pure luck. We will see Manchester City, regardless, unless they get relegated. We will see Manchester City at least twice a year. Period. There is an opportunity for this guy to continue to give away trade secrets on players that he coached on this team. And I don't agree that he had no other options. We've seen, we saw, we saw Eric Ten Hag get a manager position, albeit a short one, but still a manager position after his debacle at United. These guys, these particular types of coaches like Pep Linders get recycled in the coaching. They're not as they have no issues or problems finding jobs. Absolutely no issues or problems finding jobs. And for someone who said that he'll never be the assistant coach to anyone other than Jurgen Klopp, and then for him to go and say, I'm going to take on being the assistant for your biggest rival in your career. And I get it. Jurgen Klopp gave him the clear pass, gave him his blessings, the whole nine. But all the same, I still think it's a rat move. He calls his children Scousers. He calls his children who grew up in Liverpool for the majority of their lives, he looks at them and they look at themselves as Scousers. And this individual is celebrating the demise of his former team.
And the thing is, how was a guy like that working with the best two managers the Premier League's probably ever seen in Jurgen Klopp and Pep Guardiola? Like, come on. Like, how's he working with that? But like, for me, Klopp ruined his career with us by having him by his side.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it would have been better if it was just me and you next to him, bro. Might have won something. But Pep Linders, like, come on, what's he bringing to the table? He's bringing the secrets of Liverpool Football Club to Man City this season because they've beat us 3 times in a row. So
beating us 3 times in a row.
There you go. Not even the best Man City team you're getting as well. Not the one that we Klopp faced. This Man City is a different sort of Man City. Yeah, but today they had the fight and stuff.
It's just one of those things that, like, look, there's plenty of teams, I guess, and you know what it is going to. You could have went to Jurgen Klopp and said, "Oh, do I have your blessing?" It's beyond just the blessing of Jurgen Klopp.
Klopp would have turned around and said to him, "Aren't you embarrassed asking me that question? What type of man are you?" You know what I mean? Pondering,
It'd be like Jurgen Klopp saying, "You know what? I'm going to become the next manager of Manchester United." Should we all just be like, "Oh, that's cool"?
Have a good one, bro. Good luck.
You know what I mean? Would that be okay? I mean, is it okay because he went to King Kenny and Kenny said, "Yeah, then do what you got to do. You got to feed your family."
I'm just thinking if Man City were willing to take him on, there were other jobs there available for him. But for me, Pep Guardiola thought, you know what, I'll just bring him on. I would bring him in, get the secrets out of him, You know what I mean? Why not? Yeah.
Pep Linders was mocked by our fans when it was time to leave, and now he is working with the best in the business. He can't be that bad. Pep Linders was not mocked by all fans of this of out there. I think the reason why this hits harder than most, or at least hits harder to me, is because I was someone out there that absolutely gave Pep Linders credit for being a presence in Jurgen Klopp with Jurgen Klopp to help inspire some type of changes and keep him invigorated enough to be able to try different things and the likes of it to keep him sharp. I gave Pep Linders his cake. I gave Pep Linders his due, and I definitely said Pep Linders um, was worthy of the praise that he got because he was our assistant coach and he was very, very important to Jurgen Klopp. Jurgen Klopp made that point relatively abundantly clear. But you just can't go. There's certain teams you just can't go to. It just hurts. It hurts. And it hurts because it's one thing for a guy to say, okay, some might say, oh, what about Rafa with Everton? Well, maybe even Chelsea, but Everton's never going to necessarily be something that ends up being a thorn in our side the way that Manchester City have been. So there it is. I don't even know if that's a dig or not. But look, people, it is what it is. Like I said, it was a good magic trick. I don't know if that was a result of Harry Potter or not, but it is what it is. Like I said, we'll end on a positive note. Like I said, once again, happy birthday to Harvey Elliott. Big up to Harvey. And with that, I'll let JK say what he wants to say to the people since we're at 2.5.
Yep. Not a great day. And we've got a big game on Wednesday now. Oh, Lord of mercy. Realistically, these players need to do it for us again. They let us down again big time. And I think the way we did Galatasaray that day is because of that sort of burden they had on their shoulders, like, oh, the fans aren't happy. But then what did you do? After that, you lost to Brighton. You know what I mean? Consistency in this team, forget about it. And with football, with that consistency is not great. And that's where we're at right now. I don't know what team we're going to get, what type of energy we're going to get, how many goals we're going to let in. Are we going to ever get a clean sheet ever again? We're conceding a lot of goals, bro. We conceded 7 in the last 2.
Yeah.
7.
Sorry.
7
I'm
in
not
the last
laughing
2.
at you, Steven. I just yeah. I don't know too much about Pokemon.
Yeah.
I don't know too much about Pokemon, so.
Yeah, but bless up to all the chat who stayed with us and that gave us that insight as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everyone's like not happy with what's going on and stuff. But as long as look, we've got the quality players there. That's the only sort of golden apple in this basket of bad fruit, bad apples and that. Is that the quality of player is still there? It's been there all season. It isn't just this manager just can't get the recipe right.
The recipe right. Nope. He is not the chef. He's not the chef we need in the kitchen.
He ain't the Gordon Ramsay of the team. He's not the chef, bro. And
I'll tell you this much. How about this though? This does feel like Hell's Kitchen. So I'll let you know. This does feel like Hell's Kitchen. So that's what it feels like. uh, let's continue to support each other out there. That's obvious. Like I said, we can all deal with banter, but I mean, like, let's not make it personal amongst each other. Um, uh, you know, the end of the thing is, as Lady B said, um, players will come and go, but we as a Liverpool fan base will always remain, and we have to be sure that we hold each other up. You know, that we are a real foundational piece. I hope that I can become one of those in your eyes out there. I know that JK and you in the chat certainly are for me, because I see the way that you guys support, the way you guys, the way you have guys and gals have passion, how you have commitment, how you've shown love for this team, win, lose, or draw, and and it is very easy to fall into the rigors of the ugliness that exists on the internet and other fan bases. So I applaud you for being just what you are. That is proper Reds in my eyes, and I hope that you continue to walk tall. So, with that said, we'll have another show tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow. It's now an 8-hour difference between me and you in the UK. So I will be back at 9 p.m. tomorrow as well. A little bit after 9 tomorrow, I'll be back for a little bit more of the banter and more of the great takes. Hold the door, hold the door, hold door, hold door. That's I do know Games of Thrones. I love Game of Thrones. Hold door, hold door. All right, people. JK, you said what you wanted to say, right?
Yeah. Jimmy, fair play to you. Exactly. Like, thanks to the chat 12, JK, Bernadette, and Lee. Everyone in the chat, have a great Easter. Tough day to take, but we just stop and go again.
Yeah, yeah,
Simple as
yeah.
like Wednesday. Put a shift in, man. Do what you got to do, Arnie. I don't know what you're gonna do, but do it.
Yeah. What I say, you know what? Not even Arnie. I say these players call a players meeting, have dinner at have dinner at Virgil's house. I don't know, whatever you need to do, and get it together. Go out there with heart, spirit, pride, and make it happen. Make it happen, because we're still fighting for you. We are still fighting for you, and we always will. But you got to do your part as well. Um, Women in the FA Cup quarters tomorrow. Good luck to the women. They're making a real valiant effort in that as well. Hopefully, the women can pull out what the men could not do today. And other than that, people, we wish you well. We wish you a blessed night, evening, morning, whichever it is for you right now. But we will see you tomorrow. We'll have another episode ready for you, and we'll talk then. Always up the Reds. And again, happy birthday to Ringlets. And we'll talk to you soon. Peace.